All right, fellas, there's a lot of you in here, so we're going to get this thing going, okay? Because I only got 30 minutes. Again, for our meetings here, just make sure if you're not speaking, you're staying muted. Make sure if you can use the raised hand icon if you do have a question, or just speak up and I'll answer your question to the best of my ability. Don't be a disruption. Again, if you are, okay, I will kick you out. And just make sure that we're focused and we're listening, we're being intentional with the training. All right, for some of you here, it's your first time being here at the Wisdom Wednesday meetings. What we've been covering is just basically how to better prepare you guys mentally, not just on the football field, but also off the football field. So we want to make sure that we're providing you guys with tools to use to be mentally tough, to be great leaders, to be able to practice discipline, to be intentional, and to be purposeful with a lot of the stuff that we're doing. And so we use this system called the above the line system. I'm going to go through it here just briefly. Let me skip through this. This is all recap. So this is the biggest takeaway for above the line system. Again, you have the line, which is that yellow line there, and we always will try to maintain to be above that line. Okay, by being purposeful, by having intent, by developing skill, and by having discipline. Okay, these are all the things that we have talked about. Also, too, we talked about ERO, how to use the equation event plus your response to get the outcome that you want. Okay. In the equation ERO, the biggest thing there is you're in charge of your response and how you make the choices depending on the situation that you find yourself in to get the outcome that you want. Obviously, for our team, we want to win games. We want to win a lot of games. We want to win the championship. Okay, we want to have great practices. So that means that our R and our responses have to be above the line. Okay, and that's what we're preaching here. Again, in the sentence there, someone have a question? Oh no, that's Sam. All right. Okay, this. Hold on, I'm letting some people in here. Getting and maintaining above the line behavior is foundational to the success in anything you do, work, school, football, and life. Again, we as coaches want to make sure that we're providing you guys with these tools, not just for football, but also for hopefully your life as you get older and older and you become young adults and you guys are great community leaders, great fathers, wherever you find you guys, wherever you find yourselves in the future. We want to make sure that hopefully this training will be impactful for you from now until however long you wish to use it. It empowers you. It creates the best version of yourself. And that's what we want as coaches for everybody here on the football team and not just a bunch of players. You know, it's easy because we as coaches come out there and of course we oftentimes don't talk a lot about the things that really matter and that's really your mentals, man. Okay, because if it doesn't happen up here, you know, in your mind, then the physical stuff's not going to work, you know. And so that's the biggest push here is to make sure that you guys are mentally prepared to handle any situation whether on the football field or off. Okay, we also talked about below the line behavior. Again, we want to stay above the line and we want to stay away from being below the line. And below the line behavior, we've all done it. Okay. I myself have done it. Sometimes we continue to do it, you know, for some of us daily. Okay. And so a lot of this stuff requires us to know what we're doing and to be better and to get above that line when we are practicing below the line behavior. Okay, below the line behavior, it's easy, it's on autopilot, it's impulsive, it's resistant to coaching. Okay, resistant to teaching, resistant to your parents telling you what to do. All right, when they have the best interest in whatever it is that you plan on doing. Okay, and it's default mode. It's basically what we revert to when we're not thinking about the situation, when we're not thinking about the things that we want to acquire wherever it is that we are in life. Okay, we want to stay away from this below the line behaviors. Okay, but you have to be conscientious about it because it happens a lot. Okay, it happens a lot, and we have to make sure that when that does happen, we have to be able to recognize it, internalize it, and be able to be like, man, what was that training telling me about how to get back above the line? Okay, and that's why we're doing this. Hold on, let me let some more people in. Okay. Again, eventually below the line behavior produces failure. So anytime you find yourself below the line and you continue to live below the line, it's going to lead to failure, man. And it's something that we don't want for anybody on our football team. Okay, whether you're a coach, a parent, player, whatever it may be. Okay, and again, another big point why we're doing this because we want to tell you guys just how to maintain that above the line behavior and to continue to be successful wherever life finds you. Right? Oh, okay, hold on.
Um,
Now, we are going to continue our mental toughness training. I'm going to try to get through this in 20 minutes. It's going to be pretty long, but I'm going to see if I can do it here. Okay. At the beginning of our mental toughness training, we talked about two different aspects to mental toughness training. We talked about being self-aware, okay, self-aware of your emotions, okay, and being able to understand when those emotions are happening, okay? Because a lot of times youth, and a perfect example, at the 5-on-5 tournament, a lot of guys that are in this meeting weren't there. Okay, there was a lot of times when we physically got challenged. We physically got challenged. The OG Ducks, they were a challenging squad. Okay, and there was a couple of us that had some really competitive matchups. And when we were going one on one with them, okay, and unfortunately not winning those battles, we reverted to some emotions that aren't necessarily appropriate for that specific time. Okay, and I'm going to use them as an example, like crying. Some of our players were crying because they were getting beat and beat and beat down and beat down. And unfortunately, that happens sometimes in football and in life. Okay. Right. But with our mental toughness training, you need to understand and be aware of those emotions like sadness, like crying. And you need to understand, is this the proper emotion to be having during this time, or is it the wrong one? If it's the wrong one, then I need to figure out how do I get out of this emotion and get back above the line. Okay. All right. And it was good to see that because again, it's going to happen. Right. The OG Ducks are just as competitive as some of the teams that we'll see in our league. And I guarantee you it's going to be a battle. Okay. It's going to go back and forth. Emotions are going to ebb and flow. Okay. But we have to be able to understand those emotions and understand if the emotion that we're expressing during the times is appropriate for the time. Okay. And then we got into these emotions and we talked about the four major emotions that we experience. Okay. Anger, fear, affection and happiness, and sadness. Okay. We as players, as people, need to understand these emotions. All right. Being self aware of those emotions are going to help you to be mentally tough. Okay. Especially during situations where maybe those emotions aren't the emotions that we should be having for that specific time. I'm not saying stay away from these emotions because there's perfectly good time for these emotions, but you need to understand when to use them and when it's appropriate to use them. Okay? Let somebody in here. Okay? All right? Again, understanding those major ones. Okay? Anger, fear, affection, happiness, and sadness. Sadness happens a lot in football because a lot of kids, they'll get frustrated. Okay? And they won't know what to do, or they'll, you know, like I mentioned on Sunday, okay, when our emotions go up, our clarity and how we think goes down, okay? And our emotions will go up, especially in real competitive matches, okay? You're going to feel a lot of different emotions. Someone may cheap shot you, just for example, okay? And your emotion of anger may go up and you may do something that isn't necessarily correct and may draw a flag. And now we got penalties. Now we're working against negative yards, something that we don't want to do, something that could greatly affect the outcome of a game, especially if it's close. Okay. And I have a feeling, man, that it's going to come down to that when we face these teams that are real competitive, just like us. It's going to come down to because the talent's there. Our talent is there. And when talent meets talent, okay, there's got to be something else that's going to be able to push us over the limit to get us that victory. Okay. And that's things like this understanding how to be mentally tough during those very stressful times. Okay. So being aware of those emotions is super important. In order to be mentally tough, we have to recognize what emotional signals we are getting and act above the line. Okay. I cannot stress to you how important that is, especially at your age. Okay. And there's not a lot of kids out there that understand, well, I'm super, super mad right now, so I'm just going to go out and I'm going to cause a penalty. We get that a lot. But we here with 11U, we hope that you guys are able to understand that, hey, that's not the best decision for the team. That's not going to be going towards our outcome or what we want, and it's not going to be correct. Okay? So that's what we're trying to help you guys understand. The second part to mental toughness that we went over is understanding situational awareness. Okay. Now that we understand our emotions and we're self aware of our emotions, now we have to be able to understand our situation in which we find ourselves. Okay. Same thing. I'll go back to that example with the 5-on-5. Okay. Kids are competing, kids are getting beat, and sometimes our emotions get the best of us. So then we display emotions that aren't right for the situation. Okay. Like sadness, like crying. Okay, instead of trying to figure out what it is that we need to do to get better for the next rep. Okay, now some of you on the positive side, there was some of you that competed and it went back and forth, but you kept your composure, all right? You kept your mental toughness and you were able to beat that competitor that was on the other side just by sheer will and understanding, hey, I got to get right. I got to hunker down and I got to beat this guy this rep. This is what matters right now at this time. Okay, so again, a lot of positive things we're seeing through that 5-on-5, and I love it. That's why I love football. It's a great, great tool for us to use these type of characteristic tools to better ourselves at whatever it is that we're trying to accomplish. Okay, again, situational awareness. I'll go over here just briefly. Okay, I got too much here. Okay. Situational awareness, okay? It's being able to respond to a situation in an effective way, okay? We must be able to see with clarity and see with courage, right? When things get tough, okay? When things get super tough, and they will in games, and some of you guys have probably experienced it. I still remember playing the Blitzhawks during first round regionals when we were the Razorbacks, okay? And some of you guys expressed some of your feelings to me about, hey, coach, can you change my position? Because it was getting too tough, you know? All right. Or the guy was blocking you and you couldn't beat the block. All right. We cannot do that. All right. We cannot get to a moment in our lives or in our games, especially during the games where we're feeling like we're getting beat and beat and beat, where your mentals are telling you, hey, I can't do this, coach. Can you move me? All right. And we cannot do that. Again, all right? We need to be able to understand those situations and be like, how do I fix this? And how do I get better? How do I stay above the line, all right, and not fall below the line when situations like that happen? Okay? One of those things that needs to happen is, hey, we need to step up to the challenge, all right? Do the hard things, figure out our training, and use it to overcome those challenges. Okay? All right. Sometimes our emotions go up, and I mentioned our clarity goes down. Okay. We need to understand that when our emotions go up, we need to figure out everything we can possible to make sure, okay, that we're doing everything for the betterment in this particular situation, our football team, and what we need to do to get the outcomes that we want, the results that we want. Okay. Be careful with emotions that don't produce above the line behavior. Again, a big, big, big one. Okay. A lot of emotions go on during the game, even during practice. Okay. There may be a time, again, I use this example all the time, but it's a perfect one for you guys to understand. Someone may cheap shot you. Okay. Maybe after the whistle, or maybe even during the whistle. May clip you, may do something illegal. Okay. But again, during those moments, we need to learn how to focus on what it is that we need to focus on, all right, and not let our emotions get the better of us. Because again, it becomes very, very detrimental to us, and it creates below the line behavior. Maybe go watch Mickey Mouse. Okay, all right. We got to be able to maintain above the line behavior. We got to be able to say, hey, when those times do come, because they will, all right, we got to make sure that we maintain our composure and be able to see with clarity and courage to overcome those difficult times. Okay. Sometimes reality is not hard to see, but is oftentimes hard to accept. Okay? How we feel is not always the best indicator on what we should do. Don't let your emotions get the best of you. Right? Again, understanding your self-awareness and your emotions, right? And being able to connect that to the situational side of things, right? It's going to help you big time when with mental toughness and overcoming difficulties that we will face. Okay? The most effective tool for situational awareness is ERO. Again, going back to that diagram that we had talked about so many weeks ago, okay? Being able to understand ERO, okay, and using it to your advantage, right? If you find yourself in a bind or you find yourself where there's very little time for you to react, okay, revert to your training, okay? This training, understand ERO and understand that sometimes ERO is going to come and it's going to be at a blink of an eye, okay? You're going to have to make a decision real quick. And the best way to use ERO, okay, is to continue to use it. Be consistent with using it in every aspect of your life. EJ, you got a question?
Yes, sir. I was wondering what ERO stands for again.
Can anybody help him answer that? What's the E stand for?
Event.
Event, thank you. What's the R stand for?
Response.
And what's the O?
Outcome. Outcome.
Okay. So EJ, for ERO, okay, you're given the event, okay? The R is your response, and the O is what you want. So I'll make it a little example of this. Let's say you want good grades in school, right, EJ?
Yes, sir.
So you're in the classroom. What do you need to do? What are your responses in the classroom going to look like?
Pay attention.
Pay attention. That's a good one. What's another one?
Don't talk over the teacher.
There you go. There's a bunch of them. Do the work that she assigns, maybe. You know what I'm saying? All
Yes,
right.
sir.
And then it could even be at home. What do you want to do to have great grades? What's your response going to be?
Do your
EJ,
homework.
do your homework, study. I mean,
Study.
there's a bunch of different responses that you could have to get the outcome that you need. Now, I will say this, and this is big time. Okay, we all want to win. I want to win. I hate losing more than I like winning, but I I want to win. I want to win the championship, man. Okay? So my response to that is do everything possible to try to help you guys, put you guys in the best position possible, like these Wisdom Wednesdays, getting guest speakers to come and talk to you guys, practicing Sunday and Tuesday, getting all those things lined up so that we could eventually win. But it doesn't always work that way. Okay? Which isn't a bad thing. Okay? We just continue to use this ERO equation to help us figure out what it is that we need to do better, all right? So that we can continue to get that outcome, try to get that outcome eventually. Okay? All right? That's just basically what we talked about with the ERO. So thanks for bringing that up, EJ. Okay. All right. Once we are able to be self-aware of our emotions, we can then respond appropriately according to the situation. Okay. And I've seen a lot of growth, man, with a lot of you guys, which is really cool from our Tigers year all the way to now. Okay. And a lot of that has to do with just emotional development, being able to understand your situation and doing the things that we're talking about now. So that's cool to see. Okay. Right. I don't want to recap because I don't have much time. Uh, Going into part three of mental toughness. It's discipline during difficult times. Okay, I love this one. Okay. Skip to this. Okay. The choices we make will not always align with our feelings. Okay. Again, we got to continue to choose the hard things, guys, especially when it means getting better at whatever it is that we're trying to do for our football team. Okay. Being comfortable with the uncomfortable. Okay. Maybe you've heard of, you know, uh, things like embracing the suck. You know, that's another popular one. All right. And things of that nature. But being able to do the hard things to get to where we need to get to, we have to be able to be comfortable living in those times. Okay. All right. Embrace productive discomfort. That's another one. Be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Do the hard things. All right. Time and time again, man, I cannot tell you how much I emphasize this to my kids because, they continually find themselves in situations where it's difficult. We all do. Okay. Even myself, with my marriage, with everything that's going on in my life right now, it's hard to find things. It's hard to do the hard things, especially when you want to just, revert to your default mode, be below the line.
Come on, Mom.
All right. It's easy to do. Okay.
How's your shoulder?
All right.
All right. To produce significant outcomes, you're going to have to do the things that are uncomfortable. Okay. So you're going to have to find it in yourself. Jaden, you brought up a good point when Coach Laura was here, was how do you stay motivated? You know how you stay motivated? Not just being consistent, all right, but being disciplined. Okay. Understanding that, hey, our sessions, Sunday and Tuesday, Wisdom Wednesdays, I got to be there, man. Okay. Even though it may be difficult for me, even though it may be hard for me to sit here and listen, all right, I got to be able to discipline myself and tell myself that what I'm doing is making myself better, not just for myself, but for the team. All right. And those are the kind of things, man. Those are the kind of things that are going to motivate you, dude. Okay. Consistency and discipline. Discipline's a big one, man. All right. If we don't have it, okay, then you're not going to be motivated to do anything. Okay. And I hate using motivation because it really is just discipline, man. Do you want to get better? You know, then you got to figure out what it is that you need to do. And sometimes those things that you have to do to get better, it's extremely hard to do, you know? But again, embracing productive discomfort, choosing to do the challenging things, even when your mind's telling you, hey, I don't want to do this, but you got to be disciplined enough to tell yourself, hey, it's going to make me better. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Right? If your feelings do not align with what you need to do, have the discipline to do what you have to do. Embrace productive discomfort. That's what we just talked about, Jaden. Yeah? Right?
Yes, sir.
Someone had a question. Hold on. Coach, I have to go to practice. Oh, no problem, man.
Yeah, I have to go. All right.
No problem, bro. I'm recording this, man, so I'll post it on the group chat or the group me.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Again, so recap. Good. We're in part 4 now. Okay. Now that we understand, okay, being self-aware of our emotions, being situational aware of where we are, and if where we are we using the appropriate emotions? Okay. All right. And then discipline during difficult times. We just talked about that with part 3. Now, okay, creating mental energy for specific mindsets. All right. Another big part to mental toughness. Okay. All right. I put this picture in here just so my kids could see. I use this a lot with a lot of different of my student athletes. Okay. It's just understanding that the mind, once you strengthen your mind, man, okay, even a wrecking ball couldn't even wreck, you know, the way in which you want to go. Okay. Okay. So different types of mindsets. Okay. I put what I go through here on a daily here. Okay. Let me get through all the pictures so I can explain them. Okay. Daily executions. Now you're going to go through your day. Okay. Everybody goes through different processes, different things in their day. Okay. This is just my day. Okay. When I go through my days, you have to understand that different parts of that day are going to require different levels of mindsets. So, okay, different levels of energy in which you have to use your be mentally tough. So for me, my daily executions, you know, everything that I need to do from work to getting home and things of that nature, it requires me to be committed, to be diligent, to be attention to detail. Okay, especially when I'm at work. Okay, listening to people. This one's a hard one for me, man, because I got terrible listening skills. You could ask my wife, man. She absolutely hates it when she talks to me because it's in one ear, out the other. Okay. And maybe you guys feel the same with your parents. All right. Sometimes they're telling you guys something and it goes in one ear, out the other. All right. Again,
You want me to put the mattress there?
That situation is going to call for a different level of energy, a different level of mindset. Okay, it's gonna require you to be respectful to that person,
I'm on here, please, son. And I'm not
to
gonna work.
have empathy, okay, and to be curious about what it is that they're talking about. Okay, for me again, overcoming adversity. Okay, there's a lot of different parts of my day where I have to overcome some significant challenges. Okay, I'm in a job where I have to be in a lot of meetings. All right, and I hate meetings, man. I really do because I got to speak to people that I don't even know, and it's really challenging for me. So again, just being able to persevere through those meetings, being optimistic about those meetings, and being resilient and understanding that, hey, what I'm doing right now is overcoming some adversity of mine, all right, to be better. Okay. Another one I have is being stuck in traffic. Again, it requires a different type of mindset, different level of energy. Okay. But I got to remind myself that I got to be patient, man. Okay. I got to have perspective on where I'm coming from and where I'm going. And then safety too. I want to make sure I'm getting home to my kids because I do got to drive a far way to my job location. So it's something that I have to mentally prepare myself for every day. Okay, I'm getting on the road. What do I need to do? Okay. And then I put in navigating change because my schedule, okay, there's a lot of adjustments. So I'm having to adapt a lot. Okay. So then I got to have clear vision on where I'm going. Okay. Confidence in what I'm doing. And then embracing again productive discomfort, being able to do the challenging things so I could get to my endpoint. All right. And then workout, I wish I worked out more than I do right now. But again, it's just different level of mind, different level of energy and a different type of mindset. And I put these all here so that you could understand that throughout your day, you're going to have maybe 1 to 6 different things, maybe 1 to 10 different things, maybe more. Okay. But you have to understand that all those situations that you get into, all those different moments that you get into require, all right, a specific amount of mental energy and require you to act a certain way. Okay. So for you, it might be practice. It might be going to school or going to school, getting to school. Okay. Making sure that when you're conversating with people, okay, you have a different mindset. Okay. Every situation in your life, okay, guys, is going to require a different level of energy, a different mindset. Okay. Because not everything is going to be, all right, I need to have the same mindset as I do on the football field as I do when I'm at home. Okay. So you have to understand, again, this is just understanding your situation and understanding, hey, these are the things that I need to do wherever my 2 feet find myself. Okay. All right. These are important, guys. So just remember, map out your day and see where you're spending most of your mental energy. Okay. Those are the things that you probably want to focus on, like working out, doing your homework, listen to your parents, doing chores. I don't know if you guys have chores. I know I did. Okay. Or it could be anything. All right. From those things. And all those different things are going to require a specific amount of mental energy. And for you to remember and think about what it is that how I need to act during these certain times. Okay. All right. Moving on. Okay. Again, not every situation calls for the same mindset or the same mental energy. Okay. Know your situations and understand, is this a situation that's going to require a lot of mental energy from me? If so, then ERL it. Be above the line. Okay. All right. And get it right. Okay. Again, these are all the things that we've covered so far on mental toughness: is being self-aware of your emotions, being situationally aware of your surroundings, discipline during difficult times, being able to use ERO, and creating mental energy for specific mindsets. Understanding that, okay, every moment of your life has different levels of mental energy, all right, and different aspects of mindset, okay? And then we'll get into the last one here. What's my time looking like? 2 minutes. I got 2 minutes, okay? Recap. Hold on. Okay, then the last one, okay, is being able to take a negative mindset and changing it to a positive mindset, okay? This is a lot of self-talk, okay? Negative mindset to a positive mindset. Okay, negative mindset. Okay, humans are negatively biased. In other words, okay, we remember things that have negatively impact us. Okay, I put a picture in here with a bunch of different things. Like for me, growing up, I was scared of dogs because I got bit by a dog. Okay, when I was really little. Okay, right now I still kind of got some, some tendency toward away from pets, but a lot of that has to do with how I grew up around dogs because I got bit by one. Again, understand that negative things that happen in your life, you tend to remember more. Okay. All right. Everyone experiences bad moods or negative mindsets. Negativity has a bigger effect on us than positive impacts. Okay. That's why it takes work, all right, to get to the positive mindset. Okay. We need 10 we tend to remember negative more than often than we do positive data. Okay. Majority of people would rather avoid difficult situations or a loss of some sort rather than do the effort to achieve an outcome. Okay. Again, this is just lack of embracing productive and embracing productive discomfort or not doing the hard things. Okay. Positive mindset. It is productive. It requires energy. Anytime you're trying to get into a positive mindset, again, it's going to require some sort of mental energy. It is skillful. It involves countless minutes to be developed. Okay. The more and more you continue to tell yourself out of a negative situation, the more and more you continue to develop, okay, that positive mindset. It's intentional, it's purposeful, it's above the line. Being able to come to a resolution and develop resilience. Okay. How to get out of a negative mindset into a positive mindset. 2 ways to move out of a negative mindset: to focus and self-talk. I can't tell you how important it is to self-talk, you guys. Self-talk yourselves. Okay. When you experience a negative situation, okay, you got to be able to tell yourselves, hey, I got this. All right. What does my training tell me? What does my training remind me to do during this specific time when it's negative? Okay. Being able to self-talk yourself out of a negative situation is huge. It may sound simple, okay, but it's extremely difficult, especially at the younger ages. Okay. Again, use above the line. When you are in a negative situation and trying to self-talk yourself, remember, I'm trying to be purposeful. I'm trying to be intentional. What skill am I trying to learn here? I got to be disciplined. Okay. When developing focus, we have to focus on what matters. Okay. Focus on what matters. Whether it's getting to the end of practice or having a great practice, those are the things that you need to think about when you're going through and trying to get a positive mindset. Okay. Again, go back to ERO. Okay. Go back to the foundations of above the line training. Okay. Understand what response you need for the outcome that you want given the event that you're in. Okay. Recognize that we can't focus on selflessness. Okay. Things we can't control and things that irritate us because it will only continue to keep us in a negative mindset. Control the controllables, fellas. All right. We hear that all the time. Okay. Understand what you can control. All right. And take care of that. Okay. Don't worry about what people are saying on the outside. Don't worry about external things that are affecting how you're feeling. Control yourself. Be above the line. Use ERO. Okay. When developing self-talk, we have to manage your self-talk. You are the author of your creative mindset. When you change your self-story, you change your emotions. When you change your self-story, you change your emotions. The way you talk to yourself is the way that you're going to carry yourself. Okay? If you talk to yourself in a positive light, you're going to be a positive person. If you talk to yourself in a negative light, you're going to be negative. Okay? Make sure you're talking to yourself positively. Tell yourself, I got this, man. Whatever it is that I'm in right now, I'm going to be able to overcome. I'm going to use the above the line training. I'm going to practice ERO. I'm going to practice intent. I'm going to practice purpose. I'm going to practice developing a skill. I'm going to be disciplined. Okay. All right. These are the things that you need to understand when self-talking yourself. Okay. Recognize when you feel yourself drifting to a negative place, pause and talk to yourself up of being positive. Again, practice ERO. All right. What's R1? Pause. Okay. R2, get your mind right. R3, step up. Okay. Again, if you understand all these things and continue to practice it, you'll get better and better at it. Okay. And then it becomes second nature to you. All right. And that's how you get out of a positive mind or get out of a negative mindset and into a positive mindset. Don't talk up negative. Instead, talk up the positive. The more positive you speak, the more positive things become. We live in a world where people like to talk trash all the time. Okay. Especially in the realm of athletics. All right. Stay out of that realm. Okay. Continue to be positive and you'll see positive things come out with your mindset and how you're carrying yourself with your mental toughness. Okay. All right, fellas. Shoot, I think I've gone over my time, 4 minutes. Damn. Okay. I apologize, but there was a lot to cover and I kind of just breezed through it. But again, understanding mental toughness is being self-aware of your emotions, situationally aware of where you're at and where your 2 feet are at, creating mental energy for specific mindsets, being able to use ERO, okay, discipline during difficult times, all right, and then going from negative to a positive mindset, okay, again, self-talk, it's super huge. If anything that you've taken from this session today, self-talking yourself to a positive mindset, all right, fellas? All right, guys. I don't want to hold you guys any longer, man, because I've already taken 5 minutes of your time. But if you guys had any questions, all right, stick around. I'll be here. Otherwise, thank you for attending, and I'll see you guys on Sunday. You guys take care, man, and tell your families. Go love up on your families.
Bye, Coach.
Bye, coach.
Bye, coach. Have a good day, coach.
Bye, Coach.
All right, fellas.
Thanks,
Hey, Coach
Coach.
T.
Bye, Coach.
Coach
Bye,
T.
coach.
All right.
Sorry for being late, Coach T.
No worries, man. We'll see you.
See you.
Yep.
Coach, I have a question.
What's up, Juan?
When is the next 7-on-7 game?
We're trying to schedule one for the 27th, but we haven't heard back from the person yet.
Okay.
All right?
Coach,
Yeah.
on Saturday we have a game, a 7-on-7.
A 7-on-7?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Edmund.
Oh, Edmund. You got a 7-on-7?
Yeah.
Who you guys playing?
The San Bernardino Hurricanes.
Hey, let's go. What time you guys playing at?
10.
Where at?
I think it's a high school it's not Cajon. It's another high school in San Bernardino.
Tell Keisha, is Keisha there? Tell her to text me, man. I want to come and watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to find out where. Or I'll just text Coach Mo.
Okay, bye, coach.
All right, Juanito, man. How's school going?
It's good. It's going good.
Right on, man. Yeah, I got a lot of plans for you on defense, man. So let's get it this year, man.
Yeah.
All right, Juan?
Bye, coach.
All right, you take care.
You too.